The holidays have arrived at the Home Depot, and we're here to help bring the excitement with decor for every part of your home. Check out our wide assortment of easy-to-assemble pre-lit trees so you can spend less time setting up and more time celebrating. And bring your holiday spirit outdoors with unique decor like one of our Santa inflatables. Whatever your style, find the right pieces at the right prices this holiday season at the Home Depot.
At Sierra, discover top workout gear at incredible prices, which might lead to another discovery. Your headphones haven't been connected this whole time. Awkward. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
You may not know Jorge Reyes, but if you're in Latin America and you're using TikTok, you've seen his work.
His choices had a sort of spillover effect into what users saw, what users sought out, what users were liking.
That's Emily Baker White. She's a senior writer at Forbes and the author of Every Screen on the Planet, The War Over TikTok, which just came out this week. In her book, Emily describes the early days of Bytedance, the company that would go on to own TikTok. In 2018, Bytedance hired a small team of content creators and sent them to Mexico City to try to figure out how to appeal to the kids of Latin America, Mexico, and Spain.
Bytedance says, all right, what we need is some people to tell us what's cool, tell us what's funny, tell us what's trending. And so they hire a bunch of 20-something cool kids who know how the internet works to tell them what their algorithm should be showing people.
One of those cool 20-somethings was Jorge.
The earliest people who served as sort of content curators for Bytedance, they were making decisions about what to show people in the moment, but their decisions also trickled down to show the company and show the algorithm that now, runs TikTok what works. Algorithms are just an amalgamation of decisions that are encoded by people, right? And so those curatorial decisions early on were really important in TikTok and Bytedance figuring out what they wanted to show people, not just that day or that week, but moving forward in the long run.
Late last month, President Trump announced that his administration had made a deal to keep TikTok in the U.S. The plan is for a new joint venture company to oversee the American version of the app. One of the main investors? Oracle's Larry Ellison, a conservative billionaire and Trump ally. China has not approved the deal, and besides the question of who owns it, the details are pretty murky, including what happens to the powerful algorithm Jorge and others built. TikTok's algorithm presents as this sort of magical thing that simply feeds you the content it knows you will like. It just happens to know what you're craving. But the feed is encoded with biases from the people who were feeding it data. And if you own the feed, how much control do you have over what kind of content is actually shown to people?
You have as much control as you want. So if you clicked on a hashtag, you would be taken to a page full of videos that were tagged with that hashtag. Jorge got to choose the order of those videos. So yeah, the top of those, that wasn't random. It wasn't algorithmic. It was literally, there was a guy sitting being like, I'm going to put this one first and this one second and this one third. And maybe that was just a stack ranking of how much Jorge liked them, but probably not. Actually, he probably wanted to make sure that there were sort of varied videos at the top. But especially at the beginning, these were human decisions.
So now the TikTok algorithm is pretty much a household name. How influential has it been on our society?
Very. So what one indication of how successful it's been is that all the other tech companies started copying it. So now when you go to YouTube, you get pseudo TikTok. When you go to Instagram, you get pseudo TikTok. That's because TikTok was eating those companies' lunches. People were using TikTok so much. TikTok has released numbers saying that 170 million Americans regularly use TikTok. That is, I believe, more people than voted in the last presidential election. 1 in 5 Americans say they now turn to TikTok specifically to get news, which is bigger than any cable news show, any individual news outlet. It's a massive, truly massive amount of power, both in the United States and around the world, that this company has. Both it knows so much about all of us, but it also has so much power over what information we see.
Today on the show, now that that massive amount of power may be in the hands of Trump and his allies, how will they use it? I'm Shayna Roth, filling in for Lizzie O'Leary. You're listening to What Next TBD, a show about technology, power, and how the future will be determined. Stick around.
This episode is brought to you by Saks Fifth Avenue. Saks Fifth Avenue makes it easy to get creative with your personal style and find the best arrivals for fall. Whether you're trying out the latest fashion trends or curating a closet that stands the test of time, Saks has you covered. Saks makes shopping feel personal. Their trusted in-store stylists are there to guide and inspire you, helping you find pieces that fit every aspect of your lifestyle. Prefer online shopping? Saks.com offers a curated selection tailored to your taste. From new arrivals by your favorite designers like Prada jackets and Gucci loafers to stylish pieces for your everyday needs. Whether it's date night, a vacation, a special occasion, or just lounging in style, Saks helps you find the perfect look for every occasion. If you want shopping to be fun and easy, then head to Saks Fifth Avenue for inspiring ways to elevate your personal style every day.
Have you ever wondered about the digital infrastructure that powers today's biggest tech trends? Interconnected, a new video and podcast series from Equinix, offers a rare look at the technology driving the innovations of tomorrow, from the edge compute and cloud systems to ultra-reliable networks and everything in between. Through candid conversations with industry experts and visionary thinkers, Interconnected's hosts guide you through emerging megatrends in tech, the infrastructure making them possible, and the connected future they're shaping. They dive deep into the systems behind AI, automation, quantum, and beyond. The first episode of Interconnected covers the AI renaissance in the medical field. Join the discussion on how society would not be on the verge of an AI-assisted medical renaissance without the near instantaneous network of interconnected data systems. Discover the digital infrastructure powering today's biggest tech trends with Interconnected. Follow Interconnected on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Back in early 2018, there wasn't a TikTok. Instead, there was an app called Musical.ly. It was predominantly used by teenagers for lip syncing and dancing. In August of 2018, Bytedance acquired Musical.ly and retooled it to be what we know as TikTok. But at the beginning of TikTok's life, it largely resembled what you saw on its predecessor.
So when you opened early TikTok, even when they retooled it and released it as TikTok, it was still mostly lip syncing and dancing teenagers. That's what it was.
That's how I remember first being initiated to TikTok and hearing about it. It was that app that the kids are dancing on. That was how I knew of it.
Totally. And that was TikTok's first identity. And we were talking about Jorge Reyes. And, one of the things that he told me was that when he joined the company, there was this idea of diverse content. And diverse content has nothing to do with diversity as we understand diversity in the colloquial sense. Diverse content was anything that wasn't lip syncing or dancing. And one of the company's priorities was promoting this diverse content so that the app was not so overrun with lip syncing and dancing. Because what they wanted was to create an everything app, an app where you need to figure out what kind of screws to use in your construction project, turn to TikTok. You want to figure out how to buy an apartment, turn to TikTok. You want to they wanted videos about everything, and they had videos about a very narrow niche community. And so they were trying, using hashtag pages and everything to diversify the content on TikTok in those early days.
Right. And it seems like they were successful because now you can find videos on almost anything on TikTok.
You bet. They were totally successful. They did it. They set out to do this thing and they absolutely nailed it.
But outside of the humans curating the algorithm at the beginning, what was Bytedance doing to refine the algorithm to get them those, excess of videos and different types of videos? Were they scraping sites? Were they pulling from social media?
Both. So I reported a story when I worked at BuzzFeed News back in 2022, where we found that ByteDance was scraping Instagram. They were actually scraping Musical.ly before they bought it. They were scraping YouTube, getting as much content as they possibly could and using it to feed their algorithm. Now, that was probably in violation of the terms of service of those other companies, but they did it, and it helped make their algorithm better.
TikTok's algorithm is essentially a prediction model. A video will reach a certain number of users based on the algorithm's predictions about how many users want to see that particular video or videos that are similar to it. But internally, TikTok had a mechanism to boost certain content manually. It was called heating.
Heating is an override to that system. Heating is a human staff member saying, okay, yeah, you made your prediction, but also you are going to give this video 5,000, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, 500,000 views right now because I told you to. And that is a function that was built into TikTok's systems. And it was used for a lot of reasons. It was used by people like Jorge, who just see a video that it's gone viral on other platforms. It's clearly like, it's really interesting. It's some really important person saying an important thing, and they just know it's going to take off. And so they make a curatorial decision to do it. It was also used by like partnerships teams who wanted to woo celebrities or creators to come over and start using TikTok instead of Instagram or YouTube or what have you. And a great way to get someone to come to TikTok and stay on TikTok is to make them think that their content does really well. And so those partnerships people could push their first couple videos just a little bit, just to show, hey, yeah, you've got some juice here. You should invest time in this platform, right? And so partnerships teams would use it that way. There was also like abusive heating. There were instances where staff members were heating their spouses or their friends' content because they wanted to be influencers. And so you saw some of that too.
It sounds like kind of like a little sneaky button that people who work at TikTok can use. So how important was it for ByteDance to keep this process under wraps?
Well, people, and you said this earlier, people think of TikTok as being magic. They think of the algorithm as being all powerful. They think of, there is some meritocratic magic to the algorithm. It knows what people want to see. You get blessed by the algorithm. You get lucky, right? That image is good for ByteDance and TikTok because the alternative is like far less magical. It's like, somebody who knows somebody, or, your content happened to be selling the type of thing that they want to sell on their e-commerce business. So they pushed it, right? The reasons that content gets shown to people are often far less fun than just like, we know it's what you want to see the most. And there's obviously a large component of the ranking and serving of videos at TikTok that is about like, we think you're going to want to see this. But sometimes it's just that we want you to see this, right? Because it's pushing our new ad product, or, it's pushing this new feature that we want users to use. And when people don't think about the fact that sometimes videos are getting shown to them just because the company wants them to see them, they sort of default to, oh, it just knows me. It's just serving me what it knows I need. And like, I think we should all be more critical whenever a company is pushing us a stream of things. It's like, it's making decisions about what it wants us to see as well as what it thinks we want to see. And sometimes it may not tell us the difference.
This is what makes TikTok stand out in a crowded field of social platforms. Rather than have to work to curate your feed, you simply open the app and go on autopilot. The app instantly plays you a video and calculates how long you watch it and how you interact with it.
We talk about expressed preferences and revealed preferences. The preferences we express are preferences that we try to tell someone or something or a computer that we have this preference. Revealed preferences are just that you linger for an extra 2 seconds on videos of hot lesbians. And you might not even know you're a lesbian, but you keep lingering on the lesbians, right? And like, those are the types of things that TikTok was really good from the beginning at noticing about its users, right? And like, if you're lingering, it knows how long you spend before you swipe on everything. That's not like secret information, right? But in the aggregate, over hundreds of thousands of videos, that'll tell them a lot about about you in a way that feels like, oh, they know my subconscious, right? It's like, yeah, they do, because you are actually revealing it to them. You're just not trying to do that. And so TikTok, more than other platforms, leaned really, really hard into revealed preferences rather than expressed preferences. And that's why so many people said, oh, it knew I was gay before I did, or it knew I was pregnant before I did, or, these things that are really personal to us. If you have that many data points about your behavior, you're actually able to find out a bunch of things.
In her book, Emily quotes an Andreessen Horowitz investor who describes TikTok as the first mainstream consumer app where artificial intelligence is the product, before going on to say the entire vibe of the platform is largely under TikTok's control because they, not users, decide which videos to display. It's a far cry from the kind of meritocratic, magical system people might believe the algorithm is, and it shows how much control the algorithm has over its user base.
There's very, very, very little transparency about how TikTok serves videos. And because everyone's feed is different, I actually don't know what the 100 most popular TikToks today are. The company doesn't tell us. And it's not easy for me to find out that information because I can't just get 100 feeds and look, because they're different than all the other feeds. But the fact that we don't know that means it's really, really, really hard to know whether the company is. Maybe TikTok is trying to get us all to buy lava lamps. We wouldn't know. They could be running a giant lava lamp info op. And because we all have different feeds and because we don't have a single source of truth, it's really hard for us to know that. And so some employee who has access to the heating button, a lot more people used to have access to the heating button, a lot fewer have access to it now, but some rogue employee with access to the heating button who wants to promote a certain product, a certain political viewpoint, whatever, they could do some stuff. They'd probably get caught internally eventually, but they could certainly heat a bunch of videos with a certain aim and send them out to us. And we really wouldn't be able to tell. The company might be able to figure it out, but without access to their internal data, we'd have no idea.
I mean, it sounds like a great way for a disgruntled employee to go out in style is to just mash that heating button on whatever they want and then get out the door, which is a little bit
TikTok employees,
horrifying.
if you've done this, you can find me on Signal.
When we come back, Trump's touting a deal that transfers ownership of TikTok to the US. The one thing that's not fully transferred? The algorithm. Everyone has been talking about AI lately, but face it, just talking about tech trends doesn't help you be more efficient at work. For that, you need the right tools, like Zapier. Zapier means you and your team can put AI to work and actually reap the benefits, not just talk about it. With Zapier's AI orchestration platform, you can connect top AI models to the apps your team already uses, so you can add AI exactly where you need it. Teams use Zapier to streamline their marketing, sales, IT, HR, and more. Zapier is for everyone, tech expert or not. No IT bottlenecks, no complexity, no AI hype, just results. Teams have already automated over 300 million AI tasks using Zapier. Join the 3.4 million companies already automating with Zapier and transform how you work with Zapier and AI. Get started for free by visiting zapier.com/TBD. That's zapier.com/TBD.
Do you struggle with procrastinating? You know, when you put off doing something that could save you a ton? Well, Mint Mobile's best deal of the year is ending soon. 50% off unlimited premium wireless for new customers. That's a good reason to stop being a procrastinator. Even Slate's president, Charlie Kammerer, is using Mint Mobile, and he says more people should be trying this out. It was really easy to switch providers. The SIM card was shipped to his home. They let him use his existing phone. He didn't have to change his phone number. He is on the $15 a month deal and is getting unlimited talk and text over their 5G network at literally a fraction of what he was paying with someone else. Stop overspending with Big Wireless and cut your wireless bill to $15 per month when you switch to Mint Mobile. All Mint Mobile plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network. But hurry, because this deal ends September 22nd. Quit stalling and start saving when you make the switch. Shop plans at mintmobile.com/whatnext. That's mintmobile.com/whatnext. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 per month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
This podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today? Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices, and that's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies, so you can save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states and situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
The TikTok saga on whether or not it will be banned in the US has played out for many years now. It's messy, but here's what you need to know. During the first Trump administration, Trump tried to force a sale of TikTok. That didn't pan out. Then, during the Biden administration, Biden tried to negotiate a deal to keep TikTok's data in the US. That also didn't pan out. But after that deal didn't pan out, Congress passed a law forcing Bytedance to either sell the app to the US or see it get banned. The deadline for that sale was supposed to be way back in January, but Trump, in his second term, has been essentially ignoring it.
And so for 9 months, the last 9 months, the law has said that TikTok should be banned, and it hasn't been because Donald Trump is in charge of enforcing the laws. Trump is now trying to say, actually, we've solved it because I've negotiated a deal with TikTok and ByteDance that is a sale and that meets the seller ban requirement. They're going to sell you as TikTok. It's all going to be fine. We don't need a ban anymore. The problem is that that sale looks a fair bit like Project Texas. It looks in many ways like the same deal that the Biden administration eventually said, yeah, it's just not strong enough. It's just not good enough. And so there's a lot we don't know about this sale. But some things we do know is that, one, it doesn't include the recommendations algorithm. ByteDance will keep the recommendations algorithm because the Chinese government won't let them sell it. And they'll license it to this new entity that'll control certain parts of US TikTok. There are a lot of types of software licenses out there. Some of them, they just give them a copy of the code and they can do whatever they want with it. If that's true, that's like functional US control of the algorithm. But there are a lot of different types of software licenses, right? And some of them restrict how much code you can change. Some of them would mean that the new entity, the licensee, would rely on the licensor for updates to the code. We don't know what type of license we're talking about here. So the Rex algorithm sort of remaining in China, remaining with ByteDance, might be an issue. It might be less of an issue. We just don't have enough information to know.
The murkiness around who owns the algorithm opens a lot of questions about national security, about how the app will function, and ultimately about what kind of content the app will push. On top of that, it appears that ByteDance will continue to control advertising and e-commerce functions.
Those are pretty big things. You can totally run propaganda through ads. So I definitely have questions about what that means and exactly how much control ByteDance would continue to hold over who's advertising on TikTok and how they're advertising and what that looks like. But again, there's a lot that we don't know. We don't know who all of the buyers in this buyer consortium for new US TikTok are, but we do know that they apparently include Larry Ellison of Oracle, big Trump supporter, the Murdoch family, per Trump, an Emirati firm called MGX, apparently. At one point, Andreessen Horowitz was in the mix. I don't know if they still are. But we're waiting for more information from the administration about what this deal looks like. And I don't know how much they're going to disclose. And that's kind of scary. If we don't actually know the terms of the deal, we can't assess whether we think it's good or not.
As we've been talking about throughout this conversation, whoever controls the algorithm is able to push whatever content they want onto the platform. One algorithm to rule them all. But if the algorithm is partly controlled by the US and partly controlled by ByteDance, it feels like there's the potential for competing interests around how the algorithm should actually function. Do we have any sense of how the algorithm might change if this deal, as it currently stands, goes through?
We really just don't know how much, if any, meaningful control ByteDance will retain over the algorithm, how much, if any, meaningful control the new owners will have of the algorithm. And that's because of that spectrum of licensure. It could be that ByteDance has all the control. It could be that ByteDance has none of the control. And so there's a lot there. What I will say, though, is that it appears that the heating capacity, the right to decide what to curate on the platform, will go to the new owners. And so if the new owners have access to the heating button and they can heat stuff, I think there's absolutely a concern that the mix of content on TikTok could change. And the question comes down to what the new owners are trying to do. A number of people have talked about how many of these men are Trump aligned politically. People are worried that they may start pushing MAGA stuff in the app in a way that they haven't before. That's possible. I think it really depends what their incentives are. You can look at Elon Musk and Twitter/X for an example here. It was not financially wise for Elon Musk to push a bunch of crazy MAGA stuff on X. But he didn't care. He told the New York Times he didn't care if all the advertisers left. He wanted to do what he wanted to do. He has his point of view, and he wanted Twitter, now X, to reflect that point of view. If you're willing to light money on fire to just propagandize the world about exactly what you want to do, then and if that's your priority, then yeah, okay, TikTok might become a bastion of MAGA Silicon Valley stuff. But also, these might just be people trying to make money. And if they're trying to make money, they're probably not going to radically change the political valence of the app, certainly not all at once, because you'll lose users that way and you'll lose advertisers that way. And so I think most businesses operate on a spectrum. Mostly they are interested in making money, but they're also interested in staying in the good graces of those in power, especially in a world where those in power are very willing to shake down companies to try to get them to do what they want. We've seen that from the Trump administration. We've seen that from Trump administration agencies overseeing tech and media. So it may be that they mostly act with financial interests, but if Brendan Carr comes and says, I really think you have too much X on this app, then they might tweak that X to a little more Y, and we might not know it. And I think that's the type of subtle changes that we should be alert to the fact that they might happen and we might not know.
Before we end, I wanted to ask about the users.
Yeah.
Because when this initially happened years ago, that TikTok might get banned, there was a lot of content creators who pitched a huge fit about it, who were really concerned about it. And a lot of that fervor seems to have died down. Do we think that users are actually paying attention to this deal, and are they concerned?
Yes, I think users are paying attention to the deal. I think it's hard to know what'll happen, right? There's just a lot of uncertainty. But something happened back in January when TikTok cozied up to Trump. Trump said, I'm going to save TikTok. I'm going to save TikTok. And TikTok said, yeah, Trump's going to save TikTok. Right around the inauguration, TikTok went dark for a few hours, and it sent users a bunch of messages being like, President Trump is working to bring TikTok back. And a lot of TikTok users were like, why are we propping up Donald Trump here? 50% of the United States really voted against Donald Trump fairly strongly, right? There are a lot of people here who really don't like Donald Trump. There are a lot of people on TikTok who really don't like Donald Trump. And they're like, hold on, why is this app cozying up to the first guy who wanted to ban it? And how do we know that it's not going to become a propaganda engine for him? And I think there were a lot of people who weren't super receptive to concern about the Chinese government using TikTok as a propaganda engine. And it really hit them for the first time when they realized that it might become a propaganda engine for their own government, which they disliked. And I think that moment was important to a lot of users who had liked TikTok, had been anti-TikTok regulation, and they're like, really? you're going to cozy up to this guy. Like, this is what you're going to do. And I think TikTok lost some of its magic when it did that for its initial young users.
Emily, I always love talking to you. I hope one day we can talk about something that's not TikTok.
Dude, please.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Sounds so great.
Emily Baker White is a senior reporter at Forbes and the author of Every Screen on the Planet, The War Over TikTok, which came out this week. You should absolutely check it out. All right, that is it for our show today. What Next TBD is produced by Patrick Fort and Evan Campbell. Paige Osborne is the senior supervising producer for What Next and What Next TBD. Mia Lobel is the executive producer at Slate. TBD is part of the larger What Next family. If you're looking for more great Slate podcasts to listen to, you should check out this week's episode of The Discourse from What Next TBD. This week, we're talking with Slate writer Molly Olmstead about why Trump is talking about medbeds all of a sudden. That's available exclusively to Slate Plus members, so to hear that plus more, sign up at slate.com/whatnextplus. We'll be back on Sunday with another episode. I'm Shayna Roth, in for Lizzie O'Leary. Thanks for listening.
This episode is brought to you by Saks Fifth Avenue. Saks Fifth Avenue makes it easy to get creative with your personal style and find the best arrivals for fall. Whether you're trying out the latest fashion trends or curating a closet that stands the test of time, Saks has you covered. Saks makes shopping feel personal. Their trusted in-store stylists are there to guide and inspire you, helping you find pieces that fit every aspect of your lifestyle. Prefer online shopping? Saks.com offers a curated selection tailored to your taste. From new arrivals by your favorite designers like Prada jackets and Gucci loafers to stylish pieces for your everyday needs. Whether it's date night, a vacation, a special occasion, or just lounging in style, Saks helps you find the perfect look for every occasion. If you want shopping to be fun and easy, then head to Saks Fifth Avenue for inspiring ways to elevate your personal style every day.